Last time we spoke about single point of failure. One function, one method, and when something breaks, everything stops. But if we stop there, then we miss the best part of functional diversity, which isn't that it stops things from breaking, it's that it makes things better when they're going well. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. This video isn't about buying more kit, it's about designing systems that give you better choices. Not just in emergencies, but on good days too. Functional diversity is when we've got more than one valid way of achieving a function. Light, cooking, heat, communication, not backups, not duplicates, different methods that behave differently. The point isn't survival. The point is quality of choice. When we talk about light, we can talk about a candle, an LED lantern, or a flashlight. Cooking can be done over an open fire, on an electric hob, or on a gas burner. Heat could come from a wood burner, from a buddy-style heater, or from the normal radiators that we find in our homes. Communication for most of us now is a mobile phone, but you could use a radio or even a carrier pigeon. But working is a very low bar. Lots of methods work, but the question is, at what cost? Every method sits on one or more axes of trade-off: speed versus efficiency, comfort versus output, discretion versus power, simplicity versus control, and effort versus endurance. No single method dominates all of these at once. If you only have one method, then you're stuck at that point on the axis. You don't get the best option, you just get the only option. Functional diversity allows you to act at multiple places on the axis rather than just in one place. Context often decides when the trade-offs matter most. Day or night, short duration or long, alone with or with others, fresh or fatigued, public or private. Preparedness isn't always about having the right answer. It's sometimes about switching between answers without friction. So if functional diversity is about choice, then the question is, how do you design that properly? We start by identifying the job rather than the tool. Cooking, communication, mobility. Functional diversity only exists when you have meaningfully different ways of carrying out the same function. Having three versions of the same thing doesn't really give you more choice, it just gives you more inventory. Designing at the functional level forces you to ask whether two methods fail, cost, or behave differently enough to justify their existence. If they don't, you haven't added functional diversity, you've just duplicated. For example, 3 rechargeable torches against a torch, a lantern, and a candle. One is duplication, the other is functional diversity. 2 different gas-burning stoves versus 1 gas-burning stove and a solid fuel stove. One duplicates one method, the other diversifies the cooking function. Good diversity comes from methods that differ along the dimensions that matter. Different inputs, different failure modes, different costs, different reactions under stress. In this sense, orthogonal means that one method isn't just a scaled-up version of the other. Similar methods can feel diverse, but they often collapse together when the situation changes. Orthogonality genuinely increases your options. For example, a solar panel and a generator are orthogonal methods of producing electricity. 2 different solar panels are not. A headlamp and a room lantern are orthogonal lighting sources. They serve different spatial and behavioral needs. 2 headlamps with different brightness levels are not. The flip side of orthogonality is false diversity. False diversity looks like choice, but behaves like sameness. Tools that rely on the same inputs, fail in the same ways, or demand the same efforts are functionally identical where it matters. False diversity can feel reassuring, but it doesn't increase your options for trade-offs. If removing a method doesn't decrease your options, then it was never really adding value. A system that only works when you're calm and rested isn't really resilient. Functional diversity should reduce friction, not increase it. Options should be familiar, rehearsed, and obviously different in their trade-offs. Under stress, you should be selecting between options, not inventing new solutions. For example, you should have a designated quiet mode light and a full illumination, not be selecting between 6 different options. Knowing that one cooking method is low effort and another is high output can save you from having to make decisions from scratch every time. The next thing to consider is diminishing returns. Generally speaking, each additional method adds less value than the last. The first alternative often transforms your system, and the second may complete it. Beyond that, complexity tends to rise faster than resilience. Functional diversity isn't about maximizing options. Sometimes it can be about knowing when to stop. For example, going from one lighting method to 2 dramatically improves your resilience. Going from 7 to 8 rarely does. Adding a second way of cooking without power can be transformative. Adding a 14th is just clutter. Functional diversity is not buying everything. It's not duplication for comfort, and it's not avoiding decisions. Choice without structure is clutter. If this way of preparedness was useful, I'd be interested to know how this appears in your own setup. Let me know in the comments below. Where do you think you've got real functional diversity? And where do you think you may just have duplicates? I read the comments, and they genuinely shape what I make next. Thank you for your time and attention, and I look forward to our next video.